When I was in my 20s, I found out my girlfriend then was cheating on me, like to a biblical level. Like, it wasn't ambiguous anymore, I wasn't confused, I wasn't questioning my suspicions. And you would think I would have been angry about it, you know, livid, screaming down the phone at her, but I was actually just sort of zen about it. I felt liberated, you know, like not needing to wonder about it anymore, not being unsure. Because all these times, like you pick up on these little red flags and you see suspicious behaviour and people tell you rumours. But then maybe later that same night, you're both there and she's stroking your chest and you go like, oh my God, what was I thinking earlier? God, I'm such a monster. How could I think the worst of somebody who obviously adores me? What is wrong with me? And then more stuff would happen. And then you'd be like, oh, well, this is weird. Then you go away, have an argument about it. Then you come away like questioning your sanity. You'd be like, well, maybe I've got some sort of personality disorder if I'm capable of thinking that this woman would ever do that to me. You know what I mean? But then to find out that you were actually right about it the whole time is actually a sort of compliment, isn't it? It's like, yeah, you were correct. This whole thing was bullshit. Great job. You know, it's like a sort of a small amount of solace. Take strength in this, Aid. You know, you might not be the centre of sexual gravity that you once thought you were. You might not be the protagonist in your own erotic novel. That part went to someone else. Yeah, they recasted you with someone with the right look. But at least you're clever. At least you picked up on this. And anyway, that's where I am right now with the human race. Like, I'd like to think that I'm wrong and just being hysterical about things like climate change or the prospect of another pandemic or that the country is becoming more authoritarian, or like, I'd like to be optimistic about all that stuff. I really would. This person would never do anything to hurt me. But honestly, I've never been more convinced that the human race is completely doomed. I just think we're fundamentally not built to be able to handle a communication tool like modern technology, like social media. I think that's evidenced in communities like Brexiters, flat earthers, jab skeptics, incels, people who would have historically been ostracised into a corner of society or a different corner of the pub, like to rethink their attitudes about things. Well, now they've been pushed into online communities where they have strength in numbers and this sense of community, this sense that they have a point. And each one of these, whether it's like the incel thing or people who hate the EU or jab skeptics, each one of these is like its own individual church. Like, they're all brought together. They all share their psalmy tales and parables that serve to bolster a broader point of we hate gays or women won't fuck us and it makes us really cross. And that community, that underdog feeling, like they're David in a David and Goliath story of righting the wrongs of lockdown mandates or an oppressive EU or whatever. That is an almost impossible thing to bring them back down from, you know? It's like, yeah, could you just step outside of this fantasy where you are some brave freedom fighter? All right. But then what will I be? You'll just be a regular, boring man called Dave who loves beans. Like, I was looking at the Sunak press stuff for the oil licenses earlier, and it said, I believe that British energy should come from Britain. I'm like, well, that is not what this policy is going to achieve, so that's a lie. This is why we're looking at carbon capture. Well, that's experimental. Like, why would you pursue an experimental method rather than the proven route of, you know, solar or wind or lithium? This will strengthen the UK's energy security. No, it won't, because it will get sold on the global market. So it's all of it is demonstrable rubbish. It'll boost the economy and create jobs. Well, not any more than the Green Revolution would have. So we know that it's rubbish. But I can guarantee that people will fall for this, because they'll just screen grab it, they'll copy and paste it, they'll post it in their churches. Then people like you or me will attempt to poke holes in it and correct them or educate them on things. But they'll just say that we're funded by Soros or that we're typical lefties. And I had a similar thing with the Lee Anderson tweet yesterday where he was mocking the climate crisis. But it's like, I've got to the point now where it's not even frustrating for me anymore. I've reached this sort of Zen mind state now where I'm just like, yeah, we're screwed. Like, it's no longer just, you know, a couple of red flags here and there. It's not hectic or chaotic trying to get to grips with these things. Now I'm this sort of Zen accepting race car driver cruising along at 30 while everyone else is trying to weave in and out of each other and get one up and get in front of each other. Meanwhile, I'm just cruising at 30, smiling at all the red flags. That's where I'm at politically, socially. Where are you guys?